I am Professor Qi. I help people raise their vibration. In this video, I'm going to talk about inner silence. What is inner silence? How can we obtain inner silence? How do we maintain a state of inner silence? And is inner silence the same thing as being quiet? Inner silence is really not the same thing as being quiet. The hope of finding silence in this world when you're living in the suburbs or in a city is next to impossible. We simply cannot hope to go live in the country somewhere where it's nice and quiet and then find inner silence in that way. Furthermore, you can live out in the middle of nowhere and have a mind that is churning with thoughts and is as far away from inner silence as you could hope for. Inner silence is a mind that is able to be trained properly. It's a well-trained mind is what inner silence is. Inner silence is a mind that is able and capable and willing to pay attention to details. The whole world is details. Our life is a series of one detail after the next. We tend to think of things as events and people and places, but the truth of the matter is, as far as your mind is concerned, it's another detail. Our mind is very detail orientated. It loves to compare, contrast, and assess information, details of information. And the way to have a mind that will leave you alone and allow you, consciousness, the you that is consciousness, to be in inner silence is have a mind that willingly pays attention to the details. Details that you, as consciousness, understand which details are going to serve you best, and that is what you serve up to the mind and allow the mind to pay attention to those details. All details and all things and everything is energy. The mind is literally paying attention to energy that's coming into the five senses. These sense perceptions and little neurons, little bits of information fly into the mind. We create a vision of what we feel is being portrayed there, and it's usually by the default mode of what happened yesterday. The mind creates this image of the world out there, and then it decides whether it needs to pay more attention to it or less attention to it. Is it in a state of panic, or is it in a state of semi-relaxed, and allowing just things to happen? Everything is a feeling of this energy. The mind constructs a feeling or an atmosphere of the energetic happening. This mindset that the mind creates has everything to do with what inner silence is. If we can create a mindset that says, I'm going to pay attention to the breath, let's say. And as I'm paying attention to the breath and details of the breath, the ability for the mind to relax grows. And if the mind knows where the Qi is and what kind of energy it's dealing with, it is able to relax. The mind that wants to keep track of things, the clinging mind, is a bit paranoid, mainly the perception, sense perception, is really all about survival. As long as the mind is in survival mode, it will continue to race along, looking for the next detail of what it takes to feel safe. So inner peace or inner silence has everything to do with this feeling of safety. So we need to set up some parameters for the mind so that the mind feels safe. And the way the mind feels safe is that it understands the energy that it's picking up on. When the mind understands where the energy is coming from, then the mind can relax. So giving the mind details, that simple details that it can understand, then the mind will track into those details, pay close attention to those details, and not be going here and there and wondering what in the heck is going on. This sense of I'm not sure of what's going on, or not being satisfied with the moment, let's say, leads to this roaring train of thought that clangs along and demands your attention. So allowing this train of thought to just go by, and while that, because you really have a difficult time trying to stop thought. We really can't stop thought. We need to channel thought. So channel it into simple details and pay close attention to the simple details. Paying close attention to simple details is how we reach inner silence. Again, inner silence is not quiet. Inner silence is the silence of the mind, where the mind decides that everything is okay. And in this moment, I'm going to allow some peace for the consciousness. Who we are is the consciousness. We are not the thoughts. To reach inner silence, we need, or we should, or the intention is to become the consciousness, just the witness, just that which is looking through your eyes right now. When we can become that, then things become super simple, because from there we can easily see that those thoughts are not me. I'm not those thoughts. Those thoughts are the mind, the clinging mind that is trying to assess what is going on. So again, allowing the thoughts to just be what they are, and find details of the breath or details of energy, an energetic feeling, whatever it is, be totally absorbed in the moment. If we're absorbed in the details of the moment, I use the breath because the breath doesn't stop. We can always tune in on the breath because it's coming in or going out, and from there, the mind can train in on that. But there's many, many other ways of doing this. Just being aware of what you're doing right now, how you're holding your body, what you're about to do, becoming inspired in what you're about to do next. Being inspired and enthusiastic and excited about what's happening in the moment is the key to inner silence. It's not really about peace. I mean, it can be about peace, but that's very difficult because you can't just sit in meditation all day. So not allowing boredom to take over, not allowing the comparing mind and the clinging mind to say, I don't like this. Because as soon as it does that, it starts comparing and searching for something else. Contentment with what you're doing in this moment, close attention to the details in this moment is how we find some inner silence. The ability to really make our mind up about what it is we want to do next. What do we want the next moment to be filled with? When we're in a state of inner silence and inner equilibrium, it's easy to decide what the next moment is going to be. If the mind is racing along and you're trying to keep up with it, there's no chance for you to decide what you want to have next. What will happen next is what the monkey mind wants next. And everybody knows that monkeys are up to no good. Ideally, we get a feeling for energy. Get a feeling for the energy that's happening in the moment, the energy inside of us, the energy around us. Tag along. really connect with the energy that is happening around you. Understand that that energy is going to the speed of light. If we can learn to pay attention to the energy around us and within us that is going to the speed of light is how we train the mind to mind. Because as the mind speeds up, it simply doesn't have time to mess around and monkey around. It will become completely entrained and absorbed in details that are going by, simple details that the amplitude of them is speeded up in such a way that the mind is absorbed in them. This sounds complicated, but it really isn't. The idea is to learn to pay attention to many little simple details all at once. Solar Qi Gong is a practice of paying attention to little details, layers of details, all simple details that are piled up on top of each other, details of the stance, details of the breath, details of your mind following energy. Then speeding that energy flow up to the speed of light. Then we get used to that. We get used to our mind going at the speed of light. And a mind that is used to going to the speed of light is always inspired. Inspiration comes from the speed of light. Our being, our consciousness is unsatisfied with anything other than the speed of light. Details at the speed of light are an assurance that you will feel fulfilled. There'll be a level of inner silence because the mind is absorbed in the details of the speed of light. This, my friends, is the key to lasting inner silence, lasting contentment. Lasting contentment is not peace and quiet. Lasting contentment is peace with the speed of light. Go to Solar Qi Gong. Take the lessons. The lessons are easy to follow. You simply allow me to teach you to learn to pay attention to inner details. We'll speed those details up, and fulfillment at the speed of light will be your next plateau in life.